Hello and welcome to the introductory episode of the Mess Room Podcast with me, Mike from Dorchester, Jordan from Poole, and Will from Nuneaton. So, chaps, who are we and what are we doing?
So I'm Jordan. I'm from, as Mike said, I'm from Poole. I'm a volunteer on the Swanage Railway, and I'm also a full-time worker on one of the Southern Region TOCs.
And my name is Will. I work for a missions organisation in Nuneaton, and I'm a volunteer on both the Bluebell and the Avon Valley Railway.
We saw a bit of a gap in the market of rail enthusiasts on the internet, which was a podcast talking about things, all railways, well, UK railways predominantly, but all railways.
We thought for the first episode we'd take a look at what's in the news lately has been the Great Central Railway have had a steam locomotive in steam amidst the current pandemic and all of the preserve railways being closed. So are we getting closer to seeing a return to preserve traction?
I think it's near. I think it's near, but I feel like there's going to be a lot of stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot to go through. There's a lot for railways to do. I mean, obviously we saw the crew had PPE on personal protection equipment, and you obviously probably can't have more than two people in the cab.
And the guard was obviously on his own, because obviously there's nobody on the train.
And I mean, we've seen the Great Central have taken that first step, but also the Severn Valley Railway have taken a step recently with their online form or online survey asking the public, would you want to have regular cleaning duties on the trains? Would you want to have toilets closed on the trains? Would you want to have compartment stock? Would you want to have open stock? Would you want to have PPE supplied to you? I mean, what do you think?
One thing that I feel that will be a big change is I think they will follow what the mainline operators are doing, and they're not using whistles. 'Cause obviously, it's a way of not whistles on the loco. Obviously, it's on the guards and on the platform staff. They're actually
Yeah,
not using whistles, and I feel like adapting to that style is going to be hard. If you've been trained up to do it that way, you're going to do it that way through instinct. Like I know a couple of mainline guards that have said it's been really, really odd dealing with.
yeah. Well, you're switching up what you usually do, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like anything. I agree on the idea of doing a survey to bring sort of an idea of what the public feel. But I personally feel that there won't be many galas this year. If there is, it'd be later, sort of October, November end.
Yeah, we'll be lucky. We'll be lucky to get anything. I mean, that's interesting that the big railway have done those minor changes. So it's interesting how the preserve road is going to look like because it's business, isn't it? It's people's business. I mean, I know that a lot of charities and it's all run by volunteers, but it is a lot of people's livelihood and their life. So
100%.
I don't think the government are going to keep it down for too long.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'd say the sort of, um, you know, not being able to blow the whistle or being advised not to is such a strange thing, but especially for sort of heritage lines, that's sort of part and parcel of what, bringing sort of the heritage, the vibes. That would be something a bit strange. I mean, also, the whistle and a guard is a I'd say it was quite a lifeline, especially on a heritage railway. So I'm wondering how they could work with that. I suppose they'll use something like radios instead, but
Yeah, because it's like as a kid, I always remember just hearing that whistle, and I don't know if it was just me. I don't know how you two feel about this, but when I was a kid, every time I heard that whistle, I got so excited. 'Cause I was like, right, the train's gonna leave now.
Yeah, it's a bit of power, isn't it? Um, but I mean, everyone's acclimating to COVID-19, and in every way, every life, it's all different. One of the biggest questions that I answered on that survey was like, are you comfortable with having people in the same compartment or on the same block of seats.
Right, now we're getting into the big business now. Yeah, the talking about the social
Social
distancing on a
distancing.
train. That
Yeah.
is
You can't. I don't think you can prevent it. That's why the government are saying and encouraging us to not use public transport and to not use trains. I mean, some people have to, obviously, but you can't prevent that on a train. It's just not. It doesn't work. I don't think. I don't think you
yeah,
can
yeah.
do that. You can obviously with compartment stock, it's a bit better, but
Yeah, you'd have to need a full timetable rewrite.
that's the thing because if you're making people social distance in that respect, it's going to take for an entire carriage to get off of a compartment stock. You've got on average 8 compartments in a Mark One compartment carriage, to with probably no more than 4 people of the same family in the same coach will be allowed in one compartment, and you've got to have each family social distance getting on and off the train. You can't police it. I don't think that on preserved railways you can't. There's not the level of station staff, platform signage, and things like that to be able to do it. I don't know how they're figuring out of doing it if they load people at one end of the train or not, and empty people from the other end of the train.
See something that came across when you mentioned public transport. I raised a thought in my mind about how far we actually travel to go to events or just to visit other lines. Like
Point.
when we went to the Great Central back at the start of the year, I reckon it was what 100, 200 mile round trip, like.
150
It was
miles
long.
up there.
Yeah.
See, if you think about it, if say 4 preserve lines opened across the country, there's gonna be a lot of people just travelling because they've missed steam that much. So
Yeah.
they will travel that distance, and it's just
If we ran a train this weekend, for example, Great Central, if they'd said we're running a steam engine this Friday, how many people would come? Everyone would go. You'd get a ton of people going. That's why you have to do it under the table. I mean, even still, 7, 8 different people's photographs appeared on the internet of that thing, and that's people who just live locally.
yeah.
Don't worry about it. Oh, let's go. And that's the thing that I was saying with some mates is, if a train was going to run, we'd go 100%, and everyone would go. So you can't. And how do you police that? I don't think we're seeing anything coming relatively soon.
Yeah, I mean, also the thing of when obviously you got the photos of people taking photos of the GCR. They're running a locomotive. They're not running a full service, but they're running something. They're doing something with the social distancing of the staff. That's going to get onto the news, not only the local news, but then on the regional railway magazines. So that's going to get people interested in going to that railway. That's going to become more of an issue with social distancing because not, and also the spread. If we're thinking about the spreading of contamination from different areas of the country, people are going to be travelling from much farther distances because they've seen it in a magazine.
With the relax of social distancing, in terms of you can go and see a friend, people are going out and taking photographs in regular route. Yes, using public footpaths and rights of way that are not near people, but it's like it's a hobby that you can't. I don't think you can police that well in this climate, and I don't know how either BCP or whoever have looked into it, if at all. But you can't stop people from going out.
I think it's a case of people have got to use their common sense as well. Like I've noticed, just generally, people are social distancing, even though officially, like you're allowed to have that more freedom. Like there's been opportunities where there's been a test train and some drags with some 442 stand my way.
Yeah, it's very much common sense, like you said.
And at the end of the day, it's not. I think the only problem of it is social media. I think social media played a very, very strong
Well, social
part.
media and the media just uh, provoke anything, will escalate things from one to the other, and different people will have different opinions on Facebook. End of the day, it's people's choice if they want to go out, risk themselves, risk other people, maybe. It's whatever their opinion is on the situation
And
at hand.
I agree. We discussed briefly. We were talking about the volunteers. Obviously, as we said, like they are a lot older, and obviously they're a bit more at risk compared to the younger generation. What's your thoughts, you two, on the thought of the older generation coming back to the stations, coming back to the railways to volunteer.
I mean, yeah, quite a lot of the workforce on Heritage Railways, they're all retired. They're all, you know, they are older, which means, as you said, they're more at risk to the virus. And if the virus is still something that could affect them, will they be willing to go back to work?
I think they will. I think the old boys, they will have been. They will say things like they've been through things before, and at the end of the day, like I said, it's their hobby. They don't get out much. It's probably the only time they manage to get out and have a full day's work. So
It's also the social element for them because
yeah,
if you're if
have
you're
chatting with your mates, chatting with the public, sharing about the thing that you love. I don't think it will stop people, the elderly of the volunteer workforce, going out. I think they'll be advised to stay, maybe even told by some railways that they can't come out and volunteer. But I don't think I don't think if they're given the choice, that they'll quite happily go, and even enthusiasts as well. I mean, it's a huge percentage of the enthusiast force and the volunteer force as well.
I think, as you said previously, it will be a case of only time will tell.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
if anyone watches this, what do you think? Is there anything we can improve on? Is there anything that you want to hear us talk about? Please let us know. Please let us know.
Yeah, we'll do our best to the best of our knowledge and ability.
And at the end of the day, it's not we're doing this for a bit of fun, and it's at the end of the day, it's you guys, the listeners, that are actually going to be the ones that benefit from this. So the more you can contribute to us, more fun it will be in a way, I think.
Super. All right. Well, this is us lot signing off this time. So hope you enjoyed.
Goodbye.
Have a nice day.